Excellent, folks. So welcome tonight. If you can pop in the chat, where you're from, I'd love to hear it. But today we're here to discuss how you can have an AI-proof tech career, right? That's what we're doing tonight. So I'm just curious, who's ready for that? Like, who is ready to have a future in a new tech career that actually serves you, that you enjoy, and maybe even you get paid handsomely for it, right? Who is ready to begin that new AI-proof tech career? Because that is what we're all about tonight. So awesome. O'Neill is ready. So good from Florida. Welcome. Joe is from South Carolina. That's awesome, folks. I love it, right? So you're in the right place if you get excited about technology. Tonight's workshop is just for you, right? If you're ready to have the freedom to live life fully, to enjoy your work and your life, tonight is for you, right? It doesn't matter if you're a total beginner or you've been around the block a couple times, if you've completed a degree or a boot camp, or even had a tech job in the past, right? Now is your moment. And tonight, I'm going to show you how you can do it. All right. And we're going to talk about it, right? We're going to talk about that elephant in the room that, oh my goodness, AI, is it stealing all the dev jobs? Let's find out. All right, let's find out, folks. All right, great to see everybody. So yeah, keep them coming. Love it. So again, I'm Dr. Emily. I'm in Northern New Jersey, outside of New York City. I used to be a professor at a small liberal arts college called Drew University. Before that, I was a professor at a state college called Montclair State University. So you're welcome to look me up if you'd like. I invite that. All right, so let's dive into this. So tonight is a little bit different, especially if you've been with us for a couple of other of these live events. Tonight, there is a workbook because tonight is all about you and your tech career and making it happen for you on your timeline. All right. So that is my gift to you tonight, is to help you figure out what you're in this space for. Are you going for a tech career? What's it look like? What could it be? Let's figure that out tonight. In addition to, okay, how do we AI proof our tech careers, right? Given that there's this new technology on the horizon. And to be honest, there's always a new technology on the horizon. So awesome sauce. So I want to make sure that you guys can get that. It's a brand new workbook just for this masterclass tonight. So can anyone download that and just confirm, give me a thumbs up or pop it in the chat that you've got this, that you have access? I would love to know. All right, I just want to make sure that we have it because I'm going to be walking through the pages of this workbook as part of our workshop tonight. All right, so let me know in the chat. Awesome. No worries, Joan. I'm going to pop this in here, this link again. And so folks, if anybody asks, please feel free to drop that link in there. I'd love to see it. So just let me know. Awesome. Let me know, folks, if you're able to see it. Let me know that you're able to see that PDF. All right, because this is how we're going to get the most out of our time together tonight. We are going to walk through exactly what the elements of an AI-proof tech career look like. They're all in this workbook, they're all in this PDF. And then we're going to walk through what does an awesome tech career look like for you specifically, right? And so I've designed a worksheet where you can actually map out your dream tech career. Awesome. Adele's got it. Joan's got it. Awesome sauce, folks. Glendy, wonderful. Thank you for confirming. All right, folks. Sweet. David got the notebook. I love it. So before I dive into how to AI proof your coding career, in your tech career, would it be cool if I shared just a little bit about my background? Is that cool? Just so you guys know where this information is coming from. All right. Awesome. Wonderful, Tara. Awesome, Monica. Super great. Super great. Awesome. So I just want to briefly share this. If you've seen me before, you may have heard this story. It's hard. It's always challenging to communicate, but I want to share some big numbers with you of how not to go about starting your tech career. And for me, that was $244,000 and 10 years of my life. That is how much I invested learning how to code and becoming an amazingly confident coder so I could start my tech career. Almost $250,000 and a decade of my life. I do not recommend that anyone else take this path. I walked it so you don't have to. You can learn from my mistakes. And in addition, I didn't get just one computer science degree. I got 3 But the unfortunate thing is despite getting 3 computer science degrees, I ended up teaching myself how to code. Now, sure, I don't want to undermine, how impactful and influential all my professors were, but at the end of the day, no one taught me how to problem solve. No one taught me how to sit down to a blank screen and figure out what needs to go there, what code pieces need to be there. My professors put challenges in front of me that I couldn't pass. It was a bar I couldn't get over. And so I had to dig deep and figure it out. And that was frustrating. I'm sure, has anyone else ever heard this idea that if you want to learn something and get a good career, you go to college? Did anyone else hear that while they were growing up like I did? Just out of curiosity, right? Joan did. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I love it. Thank you guys. Monica, yes, absolutely. I see some thumbs up in the chat. That's wonderful, right? Well, and I'm sorry that we heard this, because the challenge is that in computer science and programming and technology specifically, colleges and universities aren't equipped to teach something as rapidly evolving as technology. It truly requires a different solution. And so after having this experience of frustration and trying to get all the computer science degrees and not being taught how to code, having to teach myself anyways, I was a little mad and I went on a mission to learn how to teach anyone how to become a confident coder and create amazing software. Now, in doing that, I realized the boundaries of a university training, of traditional training programs, following a particular curriculum. And so I noticed these differences. I pushed up against this gap, and I realized that it was the system of learning that was the problem. That technology and how it constantly evolves requires a different way of teaching. I'll show you that a little bit tonight, in addition to showing you about why we are safe from AI and why the tech jobs are safe from AI. And just so you know, along the way, right? So I left academia to start my own coding school, not because I wasn't an accomplished university professor. I actually had over 50 publications that were peer-reviewed internationally. I gave invited talks at Microsoft Research. My work was cited by thousands of researchers all over the world. I had best paper awards, right? Distinguished paper awards, most influential paper awards, which were awarded a decade after the publication was created because it was so influential and impactful in the field of research. I did all the things, but I couldn't actually teach computer science and software development in a 4-year degree program. I did it for a year and it almost killed me and my students. So what I did is I left the university structure because I knew it had too much red tape, too much administration. It wasn't set up to teach technology properly. And unfortunately, I see this still happening in many boot camps and other training programs today. They're following this set model of how to learn, which doesn't serve technology or students like you. And so tonight, I'm going to walk you through how quickly you can get up to speed and get a tech career and be protected from AI. All right, because AI is here to stay. It's with us. But the cool thing is it doesn't have to take away the jobs if you are smart and strategic about what skills you learn. So let's dive into that, folks. Let's dive into that a little bit. All right, folks, super good. So this came out just last month, late last month, a couple weeks ago. So the question is, will tech workers be replaced by AI? All right. And so we're diving into the workbook. I don't know if anyone's joined late. I'm going to try and pop the link in here all the time that I can. So I want to make sure you guys can follow along. So will tech workers be replaced by AI? So the Amazon CEO of Amazon Cloud, right, AWS Web Services, in an insider tape, this wasn't supposed to be revealed publicly, he said, oh yeah, software developers are going to be replaced by AI in the next 2 years. And then he said, well, I don't really know how long it'll be, but it started this firestorm on the internet. And so now the question becomes, what do tech jobs look like in the age of AI, right? So this really, asks us to think bigger about what is the role of technology? What is the role of a software developer? And what is the role of AI, right? Awesome. Awesome. Sorry you can't open the link. Yeah, you might have to. Anyways, the link is here for you guys. If anybody wants to grab it, maybe you can get it. It should have been emailed, but no worries. So good. So the question becomes, will tech workers be replaced by AI? All right. And in fact, I just did a live, not this week, but the week before in our Facebook group, where I interviewed a senior AI researcher who's been working on AI systems in industry for over 20 years about the role of AI. So we've been diving into this topic inside the Tech Joy Career Academy for a couple weeks now. We've been really diving into this. And so what I can tell you is that AI does play a role in tech careers moving forward. You can't unsee it. But it's actually evolving the role of the developer, right? It's not replacing the developer, because at the end of the day, the human is still required. The human is still required. AI basically gives developers the ability to have a sidekick that helps code for them, but it doesn't do everything for them, right? The human is still required. So let's think about this for a second. Where is the human required? So a human is still going to need to tell AI what to do, right? That whole prompt engineering thing. We need to prompt the AI to tell it, hey, I want you to create a website that has a shopping cart in it, right? You still have to tell it that. And then AI is going to give you an answer. And guess what? We have to know if it worked. Just like when we search Google, we have to know if it worked. We have to go out there and figure it out. Oh, did I get the right answer from Google? Same is true with ChatGPT. Did I get the right answer, right? Did I get something that's feasible and workable? And there's actually a couple levels of checking. Did it work? First is eyeballing it. Does this even remotely look like it's in the ballpark? Oh, yes, it does. If not, then you're going to be talking to ChatGPT some more and saying, okay, can you do that same thing again, but can you set it up so that I have an API call that takes these parameters, or I have, this type of scalability concern, or this type of design issue? Like, you have to actually know the words and what they mean to drive the AI to create what you want. And you have to actually know that it worked, which means you have to actually know how the code works. So it saves you the time of having to type everything, but you have to actually know that it worked. And let me give you an example of this. It's not related to coding. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I love this story because it just embodies what AI in our time is right now, right? And that is, there were a group of lawyers in New York City that used ChatGPT to AI their legal briefs. And in these cases, they were citing, in this documentation, they were citing court cases that didn't exist. They were fictitious. But ChatGPT makes it sound so good, right? But you have to actually know the answer. You have to actually know what you're looking for. And so the due diligence was still required. The lawyers didn't give it, right? They just submitted it. And then eventually somebody did the due diligence. It was like, these are bogus. What are you doing? So we have to actually know what is required. So AI is a time saver, but only in the hands of an expert that could do it if they really wanted to. Do you see the difference? And this is why AI is not replacing these jobs, because we still need to know how to recognize that it worked. And to get there, you have to know how to create it yourself. Like, you have to know enough to be able to do it yourself, because you have to recognize it. Recognizing, is it in the ballpark, is the first piece. But then you actually have to implement it in practice and see if it actually works, right? Because I can look at something all day long and not know that it, right? Like, I don't know if you guys have ever like written up a recipe or some directions for someone to follow, and then they try to follow it and they like end up in the wrong place, right? You have to actually go do the due diligence that the lawyers didn't do and actually put that code that ChatGPT gave you in your system. So you have to know enough to hook it in, right? You have to be able to put it where it goes and then run it and test it and make sure that it works. So you really have to have all the skills of a software developer, right? Before ChatGPT, software developers needed all of these skills. after ChatGPT, they need them too. They just use them differently, right? They use them like ChatGPT is like this private code generator for everybody. Okay, I want a program that does XYZ. You have to know the vocabulary, you have to know what you want, and then you have to be able to recognize that it actually worked, right? So AI is not eliminating the dev jobs or the tech jobs. It's just evolving them. It's changing them. It's changing them. Okay, so AI is not stealing our jobs. And do you guys get that? Is that clear to you? I just want to make sure like you guys are with me. And if you have other questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat, right? Do you guys have any other questions about like, is AI actually threatening these jobs, right? Because you have to be able to recognize what ChatGPT is doing is correct, which means you have to have the level of skill to do it yourself, even if you choose not to. It's kind of like, to take an extreme example, the airplane. I don't know if you guys remember. So I'm from New York, outside of New York City. So New York news is pretty current for me. And there was Captain Sully, or Pilot Sully, was a pilot for an airplane that had some engine failure. And he managed to take over from autopilot because autopilot wasn't going to work. So that was the AI, right? The automations. He took over and landed the plane safely, and everyone on board survived, right? So like he can ride around with autopilot all day long, but he needs to be able to step in when the autopilot doesn't work. And that's the thing with a software developer who's paid 6 figures and more. The company expects you to step in and do the work, whether or not ChatGPT or Google work. That's why you're paid the big bucks. Not because you Google things all the time, not because you ChatGPT things all the time, but because when those things fail and when they don't work, somebody still has to do it anyways. And that's the person making the big bucks in this job. All right. Awesome, folks. So it sounds like we got that point. Excellent. And so for those of you playing the home game, this was, I think, shoot, I can't see it under my video. Page 3. All right. So let's go into this then. Right. So now that we've established that AI is not stealing the tech jobs, right? It's definitely going to be stealing jobs, but not the tech ones, not the software developers, right? Not the people doing the tech. But so what are these critical skills that we need to know? Because it is evolving the job of the developer. It's evolving the tech worker's role. Okay, so what are the critical skills for developers in the age of AI? All right, so we have a couple different ones here. So the first, we have to be able to read and recognize, right? So we have to be able to read and understand the responses that we're getting from ChatGPT. We have to be able to debug it and fix it if it's not working right, right? So it's shifting the skills. The skills are still required. It's just the amount of them, right? You know, how much debugging are you doing versus how much writing are you doing? The cool thing is that ChatGPT saves us from doing a lot of the writing. That's really cool because that's one of the places where a lot of humans struggle. But the cool thing is it's not taking away the other pieces, which are systematic and can be learned. They're skills, which is really cool. So those are where we're first starting, right? So reading, recognizing, debugging. We also have to be able to integrate, right? So we have to take the output of ChatGPT and integrate it with the existing system. It doesn't just exist in a vacuum, right? Like, sure, if I want to spin up like a new website, I can just say, okay, ChatGPT, create a Yelp clone using Next.js. It will do it for me. And great. And I could probably run that on my machine. But when you're an actual production software developer, you have to actually get the code into production. And you have to make sure it integrates with what's already up and running. And so you have to know how to glue the pieces together. And anyone that has like very little coding knowledge is not going to be able to do that. So it's almost like it's saving the most advanced pieces, right, for the human, because ChatGPT is not going to be able to do that. There are some systems that are, you know, there are some companies that are integrating ChatGPT tools like Copilot and things like that. They're integrating coding tools into their workflow. But as a society, we're not quite ready for that either, right? The downsides of AI. So what happened to one company is they fully integrated AI into their system so that their developers could use ChatGPT and it had awareness of the rest of the system and could actually suggest changes that were easier to integrate. But here's the thing. It started revealing private code to employees that didn't have the security clearance to see it. Yeah, kind of a problem. So there's still a lot of open holes there, right? And at the end of the day, it's never going to get it perfect. It doesn't negate any of these other skills that are absolutely critical. So there's still a lot of work for the human to be doing. And here's one thing that AI absolutely cannot do on its own. If you think about it, when a developer is giving AI a prompt, generate me code to, it's not going to say fix a bug, right? It's not there yet. The technology is not there. 10 years ago, it wasn't there. Like the amount of code that can be automatically fixed is very, very small. It's limited because it's limited to all the fixes that already exist. And it will never fix code that's been eliminated, right? That's missing that you need to add. So anyways, I have gone very deep into this research area as an academic researcher, and we're not there yet. Just trust me on that one. So debugging is still absolutely essential. But when a human prompts AI, that human is using context, information that the AI doesn't have access to. So one of the challenges with software development is, how do you scale something? How do you create something that can change and evolve over time? Because you can't set up a software system to always change in every way. You'd never get it done. So building for scalability, knowing what direction the software is going to go, we have no way to communicate that context to the AI. At least it would take 10 to 20 pages of writing. And at that rate, who's going to sit down and type that? Or they could just be the human in the loop, right? Because humans will always learn faster than AI, always, with way less data, a fraction of the data, 10% or less of the data that AI requires. But the human may be biased, right? So humans are really great at taking lots of information and pulling it together. AI is really good at looking at the detailed information that happens over and over again repetitively and putting that information together. So really, the most powerful systems we have are human AI hybrids. And what AI can't do without a human articulating exhaustively every single little bit of information is how to structure that code and design it for scalability, to anticipate future change, to make the code dry. For anyone that doesn't know, dry equals don't repeat yourself, right? So building for scalability, bringing in the context of where that software project is going. For instance, oh, the client asked for it this way. They want to do their passwords using, this type of encryption, but we know that's not going to work. We know we've advised them on it, but they're sticking to their guns, but we know they're going to come back because as soon as they go to deploy to the App Store, that's not going to fly. So the development team can know where the code and anticipate where the code is going to change, even though it's not set in stone yet. And so a human is going to know that and make different design choices. ChatGPT can do that too, but only if the human articulates it, only if the human tells it, says it so. Awesome sauce, folks. And again, if you do have questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat. So I'm going to sum this up, and I do see a question, so I'm going to dive into that for a second. So, what are these critical skills for developers in the age of AI? To recognize if the AI worked, to debug it if it didn't, or integrate it if it did. A developer needs to be able to do it anyways, right? So these skills are just as valuable, if not more so, in the age of AI than they were before. Super awesome. Super awesome. So John had a question. Is it foreseeable for AI being given a program that will be able for AI to code, run, and check its work, being the rate AI is advancing? Or is that tech way in the future? Great question, John. So something to put into perspective that you might not know. So I've been studying artificial intelligence since the early 2000s, but humans have been studying artificial intelligence since the 1940s, fully 80 years ago. 80 years ago, what's called the Turing test was invented, right? Where Alan Turing said, can a computer fool a human that it's human? And we've surpassed it now, right? Like AI can do that. But, can AI check its own work? So, John, what you may not know, and so this is something that I understand because I've deeply studied the theory of computer science, and it is impossible for a program to know if it will stop. It's called the halting problem. And so it doesn't matter how advanced AI gets. Like, there are problems that are unsolvable for a program. A program cannot know if it will ever end. So when you say, at the rate AI is advancing, can it run and check its work? No, because a human still has to tell it what the right answer is, right? Like, will it get more advanced and evolve? Absolutely. But it's never replacing the human. And the needs of the human are still technical, at least until we advance to a higher level of coding. So, like, for instance, let me give you a parallel, because this has happened before, believe it or not. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a language called assembly. It's a low-level language. So, like, let's just take a quick minute. We've got our high-level languages like Python and JavaScript, and then we've got assembly called 3-address code. So you can basically do things like adding two numbers together or checking if a number is 0. And that's like it. So that's called assembly. And then you've got what's called machine code. That's the binary, the zeros and ones. And so originally, when compilers were first invented in the 1960s and 70s, right? In the very early stages, you see pictures of old women programmers. They look like telephone operators, right? Plugging in cables and wires in different places, right? That was before assembly, right? And so then we had assembly. And, in the late 60s and early 70s, most coders were coding in assembly. And then Brian Kernighan and Dennis Ritchie, they invented one of the very first widely used programming languages called C. There's others, but this was a real big one. And it replaced assembly. It created assembly code. It generated it automatically. This was revolutionary. Does it sound familiar? ChatGPT, a tool that generates code automatically, right? Have we heard this before? Yes, we have, right? In fact, Kernighan and Ritchie, they invented this right around the corner from where I work in a place called Bell Labs in Murray Hill, New Jersey. In fact, my dad remembers going down the hallway when he had a C question and literally asking the authors. So, like, it started small. And when it first came out, everyone was like, oh, no, you got to code it yourself. You got to code the assembly yourself. But eventually, right, the hardcore, the diehard hardcore programmers were like, no, assembly or die. But eventually, everyone just came to accept, okay, C will do it for me. And in fact, C didn't do enough for everyone. And eventually, new languages came out. Python, Java, JavaScript, right? We have more languages that do more cool things for us. Our languages are advancing. So, where I see ChatGPT going and AI going is we're actually raising the level of the language for the human, right? That's the thing, is the human still has to tell it what to do and know if it did it. And so it doesn't really matter the level. The human is still in the loop because AI can't decide what it's doing. It might alleviate for the human some of the lower level pieces. So for instance, for an advanced software developer making 6 figures and more, how AI is going to help is, like, there's often these chains of methods or functions you have to call to get something to work. If you've ever used an Excel spreadsheet and typed in a formula, you have to figure out, like, oh, all these formulas are like puzzle pieces. You have to put them together. ChatGPT is really good at figuring out what that needs to look like, what that pathway is. So you can just tell ChatGPT, can you generate code to do X, Y, Z? And it will figure it out for you. That saves hours of time, but it's a tool. It's not a replacement because the human still needs to define what needs to be done. And I'll be honest, most casual end user coders, they're not very good at specifying what they want. Half of the job of a developer is actually making sure they're interpreting the requirements and the specifications correctly. All right. So I love your question, John. Will AI just be able to do it itself? Perhaps someday when we've upped the level, but the human is still telling it, right? The human is still telling it because we're not yet at the level where AI will optimize everything the way we want to see it. And to be honest, the same idea is true that you still have to know how it works. You have to be able to specify what it's doing and know if it's not. So we're not there yet. Could we get there in the next 20 years? Yeah, probably. We could probably get there in 20 years, but I don't know about you, but that sounds like a pretty decent career, right? 20 years. It's pretty good. I'd take that. And really, what's happening is it's evolving. It's not replacing. So who knows how things will continue to evolve. Super awesome. Super, super good. Excellent. Great questions, folks. If you have other questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in here. So question, would you guys like to know how to land an AI-proof tech job in the next 6 to 12 months? Who's into that? So this was my workshop on what do you need to learn in the age of AI. But would you guys like to know how to land an AI-proof tech job in the next 6 to 12 months and like what you need to know, given that we have AI and there's critical skills? Awesome. Monica's in, right? And so again, we're going to continue, following along in the notebook. So keep going the PDF. Awesome, David. Awesome, Monica. So let's dive into that just for a few minutes. And at the end of tonight, we're going to end with a workshop on how you can literally map out your tech career, when you're going to get it, how much you're going to make, and how you can do that. All right, folks, super awesome. Yeah, John, no worries. There's tons of new computation out there. It's super awesome. Super, super awesome. I like where technology is going, as long as the humans are leading the charge, right? And it's not just like a free-for-all, but super awesome. So we know that AI is here to stay. To be honest, these questions come up. We already saw, is the C language going to replace all the coders because it generates assembly? No, we still have coders. They do even more fancy pants advanced things, right? It just means the developers get to evolve how they're spending their time. And since tech jobs are always increasing and expanding, the number of tech job opportunities, I think, is doubling every year. So there were like 5 million openings this year, and there's expected to be like 10 million next year. I'd have to go back and look up the quote, but it was doubling or increasing by 50%. My apologies. Increasing by 50%. So, it was 10 million jobs this year. So there'll be 5 million more next year. Crazy sauce, crazy pants. So that's not changing yet, right? That's not changing yet. So how do we land an AI-proof tech job in 2024 and 25? And this, I can share this with you speaking from experience of having helped dozens of students land these tech careers this year. And in fact, inside the Joy of Coding Academy, we had a record number of students get offers this year. So yes, AI is here to stay, but that doesn't mean that there's less jobs or that they're unattainable. In fact, we've been having great success. I know this is not uniform. In fact, I've spoken with students coming out of other boot camps complaining about how steep the competition is for tech jobs. We have a secret trick up our sleeve, and there's a reason why our grads are getting hired and other programs are struggling, and it's because of how we teach you guys. So let's dive into that, right? So we have some secret sauce that I'm going to share with you tonight. I'm not holding anything back, right? Any questions you've got, let me know. Happy to answer them. Here's the cool news. To land an AI-proof tech job, you only need to know or have 4 things. We can do 4 things, right? Oh my goodness. Let's see what these 4 things are. So it takes skills, confidence, experience, and connections. Now, I'm not going to dive deeply into all of these tonight, but I do really want to focus a little bit on the skills because this is the one that's so often confused based on there's so much information on the internet, an overwhelming amount of information on the internet. And so what skills do you actually need to learn? So I want to get crystal clear on that. And then I think it's fairly clear confidence, experience, and connections are all going to help you get a job offer. Yeah. Super, super awesome. Super awesome. Great. Love it, Justin. So skills. What skills do we need to learn? All right. And this is if you're following along with your notebook, with the workbook, page 4. Which skills to learn? All right, folks. All right. I'm going to share with you a really big picture. Don't get overwhelmed because I'm going to make it easier for you. But right now, what is this? What the heck is this? There's so much on this slide. These are all the technologies you could choose to learn or a job ad might ask for. Does this feel overwhelming for anyone? Does this feel overwhelming for anyone? Just out of curiosity. Can you learn all of this? Yeah, Paige, it's overwhelming for sure. How long might it take you to learn it all? How long might it take? How long might it take? Maybe like, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years? Oh, Monica is very aggressive. She's like, a year, I've got this, right? Well, some of these you could totally do in under a year, but there's some other ones, if you were doing it on top of it, it might take you a little bit. I think it depends on the depth of learning, right? The depth of mastery. And here's the thing, might some of these be obsolete before you finished? And, might there be more technologies added to this list? Right? Yeah, Justin, it's going to take a long time. This is going to be changing as you're learning. You got it. Oh, man, there's so much here. Gosh. So how is a beginner trying to navigate this world of tech supposed to even get started with all of this that they could possibly learn? Which skills are worth knowing? I mean, it's no wonder that new coders are often lost and confused, right? Oh my goodness, like tutorial hell, going down the rabbit hole. Look at this. Oh my goodness. How can any one person hope to know it all? And in fact, I know for a fact that none of the experts know it all either. No one knows it all. That's the crazy thing. So here is the good news. Here is the good news. Let me share with you guys an alternative. Here's the good news. You absolutely do not need to learn everything. What a relief. My goodness. Now, this isn't necessarily a straightforward response. This is quite controversial because I've spoken with students from many other coding boot camps where they did try to teach them everything. And the problem is some of those students got jobs, but they couldn't keep them because they weren't learning the right skills. So you really need to pay attention and be strategic, right? We know that technology is huge and ever expanding and growing. So what skills are worth knowing? So I'd like to introduce you to the Confident Coder system. And so this is the approach that we use inside the Joy of Coding Academy and the Tech Joy training camp. So here's the good news. You don't need to learn everything. Yeah, John, no worries. You don't need to learn everything. It's all good. And there's so many things you could be learning, but you don't have to learn it all. I mean, coding is a great job for those of us that are lifelong learners, but you still can't know it all. Even in tech, there's just too much. You could learn it if you wanted to, but you don't need to know it all at the same time, right? So this is the basic principle. So what do you need to know? So you have to actually master the fundamental skills. This is a non-negotiable, right? And you have to know them deeply. I can give you some examples. Let's say you wanted to read a book. You're not going to start reading that book until you know your alphabet cold, all your letters, A through Z, uppercase and lowercase. You have to have those fundamentals down. So that's step one. We have to master those fundamental skills. Which ones are they? I'll show you in a second, but they're the 7 basics, right? And you have to know them cold. How much do you have to know them? And again, I've taught hundreds of students how to program and how to problem solve. So I've done this for many, many years. And here's the level. This is the test you need to give yourself. So if you have some coding experience and you want to know if you've got your fundamentals down, take a piece of code written in your favorite language and correctly predict what it will do before you run it. That is the level you want the basics. You do not need that level for that technology hodgepodge I just showed you on the previous page from that technological explosion, right? When you're actually building real life systems, you really can't have that level of understanding. But for the alphabet, you want to know that alphabet cold, because if you don't, it's going to slow you down your entire career. You're not going to get anywhere, right? Everyone, all the other coders are going to be passing you by, getting raises, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're going to be stuck in first gear, stuck at first base. You have to have the fundamentals down, just non-negotiable. So once you've got those, right? Once you've got those fundamentals, you need a process to learn and solve any tech problem. Okay, right? So think about that for a second. You've got the fundamentals, and then imagine you had a tried and true problem-solving process to learn anything in tech, because we know it's going to change, and to solve any tech problem. How sweet would that be? Do you guys think you could totally rock a job, any job in tech, if you had that skill, number 2, a process to learn anything and solve anything? What do you guys think? Would that be a total game changer for your tech career? Yeah, absolutely, Justin. Super awesome. I love it. Yeah, Monica. Yeah, Neil. Yes, Joe. So good. So we got those 2 things in the bag. And then here's the icing on the cake. We apply them in real world situations. We apply them in real world situations. So we actually use those skills in real life, not just toy homework projects, but real live actual systems with a real client, real live users using it around the world. And we actually do it. We do software development. So now your confidence skyrockets because you've actually used it to make a difference in the actual real life world, which is exactly what you'll do when you go on your first tech job, right? Your first tech job. Super awesome. So that's our secret. That's our secret sauce, our confident coder system. You have to have those 3 elements, and these components together give you the right skills, right? Because I've seen people spin their wheels, learning and learning and learning and never getting anywhere because they're not learning the right things. They're going to move the needle for their career. Because you could learn technology all day long. You could memorize languages like Python and JavaScript. But if you can't do these things, if you don't have the fundamentals down, if you don't have a process to learn and solve any tech problem, and then apply those skills in real world situations, you will never be self-sufficient. So even if you somehow, luckily, happen to get a job, you're not going to keep it because you have no way to meaningfully contribute when you get hired, right? Because we don't just want to get you a tech job. We want you to have a career, right? I guess I should be clear, right? We're here for a career, like 5, 10, 20 years. We're not here for just getting a job and then getting let go, right, folks? We're here for a career, just making sure that we're all in the right place. I want to help you prepare for that career, not just get a job and lose the job, right? We want to have it. So you guys in with me? Careers, that's what we're here for. Super awesome. Give me a Zoom thumbs up, pop in the chat. I just want to make sure you guys are with me. Awesome sauce. Thanks, folks. And I'd love to just share with you guys briefly, like what this can look like, right? What this can look like. Awesome, Ronaldo. Awesome, Joe. So these fundamental skills, right? How important are they? How important are they? Right? Yeah, John. I've heard of coders that keep learning different skills and never get the job because they don't understand these. They don't have these 3 things, right? They don't have the fundamentals. They don't have that process. and they can't apply them in real world situations. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, you can learn forever and never get anywhere. Like literally, if that's what you wanted. But I figure you guys are here because you actually want the tech job, not just to spin your wheels forever, right? So, so that's what we're talking about tonight. So the cool news is that this confident coder system and these fundamentals have some real power. And I'd love to share a story with you, right? Because it happens so often, right? This is how I know that what I've created works, is because I just heard it so many times. So the power of the confident coder system, the fundamentals that we teach are called the 7 basics. And so we started off, I had a student, Pedro, and Pedro, he was down on his luck. He wasn't earning his worth, right, at all. And he just really wanted to be a software developer. And he had been studying and trying to teach himself for 2 years, over 2 years on YouTube, like trying different videos, trying to figure it out. And he got into our 7 basics boot camp, right? That's our first starter, month training. And 2 weeks in, he started creating his own projects from scratch. 2 weeks in. After 2 years of study, he couldn't write a program from scratch on his own. 2 weeks with what we taught him in those basics, he's got it. 2 weeks, right? That's literally how fast it can be. Because look at me, I took 10 years and then I figured out what you actually need to know. And so we figured out how to teach people in a matter of months and weeks instead of years and years and years. I had another student, John, who he had actually spent 6 years getting a software engineering degree. He had gone to 2 different colleges, so it took him more than the typical 4. He learned more in a month. Like, this is the power of having the right skills at your back, right? So he learned in a month, and he completed 2 months in one because he was accelerated. He was faster because he knew a lot, but he learned more in a month than in 6 years. And that's the thing. For those of you that have experience, that have been learning to code, the cool thing is that once you get our system of fundamentals down, you get to use more of what you already know, right? You get to unlock, all of that learning that you have. I've seen it so many times. In fact, I had another student, Shelly, who, again, like Pedro, had been working for years trying to understand how to code on YouTube. Didn't make any sense. 2 hours. 2 hours in, like our first week. And she was like, yep, I learned more in 2 hours than in years of, clicking around on YouTube, trying to learn for free on her own, right? So it really can happen faster when you focus and are strategic about what skills you're learning. And so that's the one thing I want you guys to take away tonight, is being intentional about what you're learning. Like, if you're currently trying to learn right now, like focusing on getting those fundamentals down and then getting your process down so that that's what makes it future proof. If you can learn anything and have a process to solve anything, you don't have to be afraid of the future. You can just go with it, because you will always be able to learn what you need as you go. That is the true superpower for a software developer or anyone with a career in tech. Super awesome. Super awesome. So let me take a moment and show you guys how this works. What is it about the confident coder system that's teaching that second one, that elusive process of problem solving, process of learning? So we've actually structured our system in such a way to make sure that we are teaching every student how to be an amazing, confident, self-sufficient programmer. And there's a couple key elements that make us different from some traditional curriculum that you might have seen out there. The first is that we put the principles over the technology. That means that we teach principles that don't change. Can you guys believe this? Check this out. The 7 basics that I just told you about on the previous slide, they have been around for 50 years, since the 1970s. Can you guys believe that there's something in coding that's worth knowing that was the same in the 1970s as it is today? Okay, that's the power of focusing on principles, especially with this idea of AI, right? because the principles, the foundations, they're not going to change. It doesn't matter what tool you throw at this. The principles are the same. What changes is the technology. And here is the rub. Here is the rub. You are someone who wants a career in technology, right? So you want a long career. The longer career you want to have, the more you need to focus on principles. Except that you want to get that first job. And companies want to hire technologists that know their tech, the tech that they're using right now, because a company wants to hire someone and wants to put them immediately to work right now. Right now. They don't want to wait. They don't want you to learn stuff. They want you to do right now. That's what they're paying you for. So we have this tension between the stakeholders, the person applying for the job and the person hiring. So how do we navigate this? The way we do that is we focus on teaching and learning the principles, but we implement them. We apply them using the latest technologies. And that allows you to get your first job, but also keep it because you've mastered the underlying principles. So if the technology changes a little bit, maybe that company uses a different language you've never seen before, you have the power to learn it and pick it up. So it's really important. And the reason why this exists is because the goals of someone looking to be a developer and have a career and a company hiring are actually different. They're not aligned. And so this is why there's a gap. But it's really cool. We can bridge that gap by focusing on the principles and demonstrating that we've mastered them using the latest technology. Because principles are going to be the same no matter what technology you use. So you might as well pick a technology that's hireable, right? And it works. The other piece, and this is really important, this is baked into the entire Academy experience, every level, every program that we offer, is making your process more important than the solution. This is how we hit at number 2, that amazing ability to solve any problem and learn anything. This is where it happens. This is how we teach it, because we put your process over the solution. What does that mean? It's never about the answer to the current problem. Let's say you hit a snag. You're like, I can't figure out how this works. If you come to our help inside the Confident Coder system at the Joy of Coding Academy, we are not going to necessarily answer your immediate question because we know that's not going to serve you. What's going to serve you best is for us to ask you a series of questions to help you uncover the answer for yourself. Because when you do that, you will then not be stuck when you hit a problem similar to it in the future. You'll know how to work through it. It's kind of like this idea. Have you guys ever heard that story of if you teach a man to fish versus if you hand him a fish? Right? If you hand someone a fish, they'll eat for a day. But if you teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. It's the same idea here. But it requires a lot of discipline for us as educators to not actually directly answer the question, but still provide you with hands-on support so that you can get there, right? Because if you're coming to us with a question, it's because you weren't able to figure it out yet. So you need some kind of insight or clarity to help you move forward. So this is something that we take very seriously inside of our academy. And, we really emphasize, because we know for you to be self-sufficient and confident, you have to be able to solve any technical problem. And this is the path that we use to teach our students. I've never seen this kind of support offered anywhere else. To be honest, most boot camps either tell you the answer or say, go figure it out for yourself, right? Neither of which is helpful, right, if you're struggling. Because if someone gives you the answer all the time, all you're learning is how to follow the teacher. And there's no teacher on the job. So that's a recipe for getting your first job and not keeping it. And then the other option is, go figure it out for yourself. Well, how frustrating is that? Have you ever felt that as a student where like a teacher just said, hey, go figure it out? What? I wouldn't have come to you and asked the question if I thought I could just figure it out, right? Like, oh my goodness. So that's a recipe for getting frustrated and giving up and not becoming a software developer. So we like to help our students become thriving, self-sufficient, and confident developers. So this is the secret. And you can do this too. Like right now, if you're learning, make sure you're prioritizing your process over the solution. It's not about the answer. It's about the process of getting to the answer. Super awesome. Super awesome. And then finally, this is the last piece that I think is just absolutely essential for any type of training program in this space, is that learning by doing. Experience is the best and fastest, absolute fastest teacher that's out there. You just learn so much by doing it. There's so many little components of delivering a software project that you can't put them all in a book. It would be like a 50-page book. Might be 4 years, right? But in a few hours, a few days, weeks of learning, you can get all those pieces anyways. So it's a much faster way of learning, much more deeply, much more breadth, much more effectively. All right, folks. So we're on page of for those of you following at home, we're on page 6 of the workbook. And again, we're getting to how do you AI proof your career, get that job, and what does your custom pathway look like for a tech career just for you? So that's coming up. So I do just want to share one more story of a student, Arthur, who he had gone to another coding boot camp, one of those ones that like teaches you everything. It's I've heard it say it's like drowning in a fire hose, where he was working 80 to 90-hour weeks and just getting bombarded with new information, new knowledge. And once he got out, it was a 3-month intensive boot camp. Once he got out, like he just didn't know which way was up. I mean, just imagine the frustration of that, of like having gone through the learning, paying for that, sitting through it, devoting your time to it full time, like 90-hour weeks, and then still not knowing on the other end what to do. How frustrating, right? So Arthur came to us and he got our Confident Coder system. He got those fundamentals that we just talked about, and he got his first front-end job offer in 3 months after joining. Because the cool thing is that he was able to use all the knowledge he already had. Once he had the system in place so he could actually figure out how to build things, he could then take advantage of and use all that information that he had painstakingly crammed into his head in those 3 months, right? So super, super awesome. Yep. Super awesome. Okay, so just to summarize, folks, the keys to getting a tech job in 2024 to 2025, we need the right skills. We just talked about that. We need confidence. That's super important. We need experience, and we need connections. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So I'm curious if anyone is on the job market, right? This will really help because you can actually debug your job hunt based on where you're getting stuck, and you can see which of these things you need. And so I'll explain that to you in a second. I do just want to take one more minute and talk about the importance of confidence, because, everybody here wants to get top dollar, right? Everyone wants to make as much as they can, as much as their skills command. Just let me know. Let me know in the chat if you guys want to make as much as possible with your skills, right? As much as possible. Yeah, Justin, they're all really important. I'll walk you through why. But you guys all want to earn top dollar in your careers, right? That's why we're here, because we want to earn more. Like, get there. Absolutely, Paige, for sure. Yes, Justin. All right, cool. All right, sweet. So let me show you the power of confidence, right? Confidence has a really key role in getting a job. It factors in a bunch of places. Yeah, earn and learn. That's the job of a developer. Super awesome, Monica. So let me show you another aspect of confidence that you might not have considered. Like, obviously, confidence comes into play when you go on an interview. You're not going to get the job if you're not confident, because the hiring manager's confidence in you can be no higher than your confidence in you, right? Like, you can see that intuitively, right? But there's another way that confidence comes into play, and that is when you get the offer and you negotiate. So Doris came to us, and she had spent a long time in tech. She had been in technology for about 20 years, but not as a coder. She was working with databases. So she worked in healthcare and she searched healthcare databases. She didn't code them. She just queried them. She just asked them for information and created reports. So she didn't love it, and she wanted more. She wanted to be a coder. So she came to us, and life was happening. She had a personal loss, right? A close family member she had to settle. She lost her job and had to find a new one, even though she didn't like that job and was training to be a developer, right? She still had to find her old job before she could finish the training. And she takes the cake. She was our top earner. She negotiated 150K. She completed the first beginning phases of the academy in 7 months, 150K offer. It didn't start there. I had to ask her, but I know she negotiated up to that. I would presume she was given an offer of around 125, 130, and then she negotiated up to the 150K. She came into the academy and she said, I am not taking a dime under 125. And by golly, she blasted through that and she got 150K following our system. Pretty awesome. So Emma's asking, how do you get a 150K salary if the median on gross is less? So I want to make sure I completely understand your question, Em. So if you have any other clarifying points to that, but for starting salaries in tech jobs can range in salary from starting tech jobs from 40K to 150K. 150K is the top I've ever heard, even before Doris, one of our students, got an offer at 150K. That's typically what I've heard is the range. Our students, depending on how long they want to study and how much they want to learn, are typically earning between 50 and 100K typically, right? We have two different programs. One program is focused on those 100K jobs. One program is focused on the mid to high fives. And so it really depends on how much you want to learn, how long you want to wait, right? If you just want to get that tech job right now, right? So Doris, she did the first 2 months. She did our beginning program and got 150K. That's not necessarily typical, right? Like she's our top earner. We have students getting positions typically more in around the 70 to 80K range, but she did it. And that was pretty amazing. And we've had students, the fastest students I've had have gotten jobs in 2 weeks because you can learn that much that quickly. Pretty awesome. And I love it. John has gotten 99% of his jobs from confidence. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Excellent. So let me take a minute and walk you through. How would you know if you needed one of these 4 things, right? Like if you're on the job market, how would you know that you needed one of these, right? So how does that play out? So we have to have the right skills. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But what happens if we don't have it? The way you recognize that you don't have it is if you're failing the technical interview. Okay, if you're failing the technical interview, that's where they assess what you know technically. It's not going to work, right? So you have to have the right skills. If you don't have the confidence, you're failing your face-to-face interview. This is also known as the behavioral interview. So for those of you that don't know, in tech, there's usually 2 interviews. One where they assess your technical abilities and one where is like the normal one, which is face-to-face, right? Awesome sauce. And experience. How would you know you needed that? You're not going to get any interviews. So that's part of the challenge, right? Is that the skills and the confidence typically come before the experience, but you're not going to get any interviews if you don't have some experience on your resume. So you won't get to the stage of failing the interview until you have that experience on your resume. And this I have seen time and time again from our students, before and after they go on our internship experience, it's a game changer for getting attention on their resume. Super awesome. And then finally, connections. If you don't have connections, it's less likely that you'll get offers. And I see this with students. In fact, I had a student literally go through all these elements where she went to another boot camp, never had attention on her resume. She got the right skills. She got the confidence. And as soon as she got that experience on there on the internship, boom, she started getting the attention of recruiters, hiring managers, got a bunch of interviews, but it took a connection to get her that offer. And that's very common for a first career in tech because you're an unknown quantity at this point, right? Anyone with an internet connection can say they know JavaScript, but do you really? Can you actually do it? And are you pleasant to work with or are you a beast? you can't tell from a half-hour interview. So having a personal connection, someone who can vouch for you, total game changer. Total game changer. Awesome, John. Thanks for sharing. Super awesome. So just out of curiosity, has anyone been burned before? Has anyone, let me do a quick quiz. I'd love to know where you guys are. And we're going to move into, walking through what your dream coding career can look like and how fast you can get there. I want to help you guys map that out tonight. That's later on in the PDF workbook that we have. So we're going to do that. And let me just share. I'm going to throw the PDF in here just in case if anyone has joined late. Here's the workbook again for those of you that missed the link. Excellent, folks. But yeah, if you can just let me know like where you are in terms of coding so I can help, customize this talk to you and like really serving you guys. So we've got a bunch of beginners. It's all good. And we've got some folks with some experience. That's awesome. Got some professional coders in there. So real mixed, which is great. That's awesome. Love it. So super awesome. Thanks folks for sharing. Awesome. We're getting a couple more in there. We'll let that simmer for a minute. Nice. Already coded in C for 15 years. It's a fun language. If you like doing all the work yourself, right? It's kind of like cleaning your bathroom yourself versus hiring a cleaning service. Using Python and JavaScript is like hiring the cleaning service. And C is doing it yourself. It's doing it yourself pretty much. Because it was one of the first major languages, what we call high level languages. Awesome. I still see some responses coming in. Thanks folks for filling out that poll. Just so I can get a better sense of where you're at and help customize this to you. But if you've been burned before, I get it. And I know that it can be hard to trust again when you paid all this money, invested all this time, and didn't get what you were looking for. And unfortunately, you're not alone, because I would say at least a good third to almost a half of our students came from another program and didn't get the result they were looking for. And then they get it with us, right? Because we actually teach them what they need to know and help them. And, we're not afraid to address both the technical and non-technical challenges. What we find, like, we've got all the technical covered, no doubts about it, but we also cover the non-technical, like whatever is standing in your way between you and success, even if it's life, right? We're not going to solve your life problems for you, but we can help you learn how to position them for yourself so that you can keep moving, right? Like, okay, life is happening. I'm going to let that be over here, and I'm going to go here and do my thing and become this amazing coder, right? So we help the whole student. Yeah. Oh, sorry to hear that, Ronaldo. I know. So was I, to be honest, because I got 3 computer science degrees and still had to teach myself how to code. And I thought it was me, or I thought it was like, I was like, gosh, maybe it's me. I chose to think maybe it's my university, maybe a different university will be better. Has anyone ever done that where you tried something and it didn't work, so you did it again? I don't know. I think that's the definition of insanity. I think that's the definition. And so what I didn't realize was that it was the system that was flawed. It didn't matter what college or university I went to. I wasn't going to get taught what I was looking for because the system isn't equipped, wasn't set up to do it. So, yep. Okay. Awesome, folks. Thank you so much for sharing your, I'll just share the results with you guys for a second so you can see. So we got folks all over the map, which is just great, but definitely in the beginning stages, super awesome. And again, if you guys have any questions as we're going, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat. Yeah, Danielle, I got 3 computer science degrees, a BS, MS, and a PhD. Oh, I want to create a web page where I can share my thesis with you guys for anyone that wants to know, because it used to be online, but now it got taken down because I was gone too many years. And so they took down my web page. So now I need to put that up so you guys can see my stuff. Awesome sauce. I'll put it. Yep. All right. I'll make a note for myself to do that later. All right. Awesome. So pop quiz, guys. Just kidding. All right. Pop quiz. So awesome. No worries, Danielle. That's awesome. Totally will. And you can text me, right? Like we do, humans really check the messages that you send us. So please, Danielle, I don't know your last name. We have a couple Danielles on the list. So just, if you don't mind texting me, hey, I want to see your credentials, the PhD, whatever it is, I can get that for you. Super awesome. Thanks for reminding me. So I'll make sure to get that for you guys. Awesome. So true or false? I have a couple true or falses for you guys. All right. True or false? AI is replacing tech workers. What do you guys think? True or false? You could do thumbs up or thumbs down. You can type true or false in the chat. Ronaldo's on the yeah, we got some falses. Ronaldo's saying it's true. So I would argue that AI is not replacing tech workers, but AI is evolving tech workers for sure. For sure. Awesome. So I think it depends on the level of tech worker as well. But I think we've established with our, with the software developers that their role is evolving, but it's not replacing them. It's not replacing them. And the job growth has been off the hook. So there's no end in sight yet. Super awesome. Okay, I got another one, folks. I got another one. Anyone can get a tech job. What do you guys think? What do you think? Anyone can get a tech job. What do you guys think? Ooh, we got mixed bag, folks. Mixed. I know, because I didn't talk about this one directly. Yes, Justin, if they want it. I love it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Let me share with you guys, right? Now, can anyone become the next 500K coder at Google? No. I will go on a limb and say, no, that is not likely that absolutely anyone on the planet can do that. That requires the coder genius zone. But depending on the amount of time and skill determines the type of tech worker that someone will become. So we actually teach tech workers at many levels, right? All the way from beginners to crazy, amazing senior software engineers or those on the pathway to become them. It takes time, right? And so it's really up to you how much time you want to spend. I've had students come in and say, I want to be a web developer, and they get into it and they start learning it and they're like, oh, you know what? I don't know if I love this as much as I thought. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? And then they go and they become, right, like a data analyst or a business analyst or a customer, like a client. I forget what the word, it's like client services. Like it's someone who sets up the system for the client, right? They interface between the tech and the human. And they got a killer job at AWS or Oracle, right? Setting up systems for their clients. Like they love it. And they needed coding to do it. They just didn't need that much coding, right? And that's why I can tell you that anyone can get a tech job, but it depends on what kind, right? I'm not going to stand here and tell you that absolutely anyone is going to become like the most sought after engineer at Facebook. Like you would have to have a certain type of genius zone that makes that easy, because otherwise it's going to be so much work and take so much time. You're not going to get to the level you need to get to. That doesn't mean that you can't learn. Like literally my fastest student did 2 weeks before getting an IT job. Like it can happen super fast. Like, yes, anyone can learn enough tech to get a tech job, can learn enough coding to be awesome. And so depending on how long it takes you to do the learning, right, how passionate you are about those skills, about acquiring them, will determine what kind of tech worker that you can become. Because to be honest, I have never seen someone who is dedicated to showing up every single day, to persevering, not get what they wanted. All the students I've worked with, it doesn't matter like if their genius zone was coding or something, or art or history or math or science, whatever it was, I have never seen someone fail who's like, I want this. But what might happen is you might come in and your thinking might change over time. And there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, we've actually set up our system so that we have a separate program just for beginners to come on in and see if this is for them. And guess what? Even if you find out coding is not for you, you'll have enough skills to qualify for a pretty sweet tech job, making 60 to 80K a year in just a couple months. So pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Or you could be a diehard where you like, this was me. I was going to learn how to be a developer come heck or high water, right? I was doing this, like no one was stopping me. because I am so freaking stubborn. When I couldn't learn it, I was like, what? There's something I can't learn? And it was just like, it drove me nuts. I had to do it. I had to learn how to do it. So that's how I'm wired. I'm so freaking stubborn. But, everybody is different. It's a broad spectrum. So if you're like, back to the wall, like, no, I am learning this, right? Then you want that full developer experience. If you're not sure, that's cool too. We can help you find out, right? I've got an opportunity I can invite you to later on tonight. All right. So I just want to see, we had some awesome comments coming through. Right? Dinosaurs that cannot adapt will die. Yeah. So anyone can get a tech job, but it's true. We do need to be adaptable, right? We do need to be adaptable, right? Awesome. Awesome. Backlash. We learn AI for the job. Recruiters learn that the applicants are using AI. You're rejected for using the very tech skills that are great for the job. So Aaron, great question. So the idea is that you have a connection. And so then that becomes irrelevant, right? And this is how we sidestep it, because connections, like knowing someone who knows someone who's in the company, is a total game changer for your first position. And then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it. Super awesome. So I did see math come out here. So I got one other question for you folks. You need to be good at math to have a tech career. True or false? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? True or false? Nice. Oh, good. I got some falses. Smart. You can have any genius zone. And again, I cite my previous point is that absolutely anyone can have a tech job. It just depends on how much time you want to put in to develop the skills and how high you want to go. It could be, right? If you're an intuitive genius at this, great, you're going to fly through easily. It could be that this doesn't come easily, but you love it. So you're going to go through anyways. Or you could find you come in, you learn a little and you're like, you know what? It's not as fun as I thought. And you sidestep. The way I've structured the learning, it's so that the most employable skills are taught first. So you can get a job at any point with the skills that you have. Pretty sweet. Okay, awesome. So you can totally have any genius zone. You can have any genius zone. All right, folks. So good. So good. AI is part of tech for sure. Absolutely. So I have a question for you folks. All right. So just out of curiosity, are you guys digging the event so far? Because this is a new workshop, right? A new way of doing it. So I'm just curious. Let me see if I can do one more poll. Let's see. Let's see how we do. All right. Let me go back. Quick. Are you enjoying today? Here we go. What do you guys think? Are you digging it? Scale of 1 to 10. Loving it. I guess if you're hating it, you probably leave. Right? But like, how are you guys enjoying it? Awesome sauce. Perfect, Artie. That's great feedback because this is a new one. We haven't done this style before. And what I want to share with you is that our last piece that I want to talk with you about is how to map out your dream tech career and how to get there. Right. And I'll go over that in just a minute. Is that cool with you guys? That's how I want to kind of culminate tonight, is to walk you through that process, right? No, great question, John. No, it's not a hydro ball. It's just a little thermos. Great question. So awesome sauce, folks. Thanks for sharing. Glad you guys are digging it so far. Excellent. Super great. Thank you, folks. All right, sweet. So we will, perfect. Love it. Awesome. Awesome, Dan. Super awesome. Love it. So excellent. So is it cool with you guys? Would any of you like to see the process that we use every day inside the Joy of Coding Academy to implement that confident coder system? I just want to peel back the layers if you want. And then I want to walk you through exactly how to get your tech career. Is that cool? Do you guys? All right, perfect. Awesome. Wonderful. Because we've been really pulling out all the stops and really baking some awesome features into our program. And so I want to make sure everybody knows about it. Sweet. So I just want to let you guys know that, we have, upgraded and expanded our vision for the Joy of Coding Academy. And so the Joy of Coding Academy still exists as it is, but it's a program as part of our bigger framework, right? So we now have the Tech Joy Career Academy. So we've broadened the types of tech jobs we prepare students for the very reason that we found students would come in and leave at different points and be super happy with the tech jobs they got. And so we decided to embrace that and actually create a separate program offering. So the approach I'm about to talk to you about is perfect if you're just getting started. I know there were some beginners in the room. It's also great if you're tired of learning on your own and you want to stop spinning your wheels so much. If you're able to dedicate 2 hours a day to become a confident coder in the next 6 to 12 months, this is for you. This is also for you if you know that experience is going to give you the skills and confidence to land your first step job. All right, folks. And if you're more advanced and you've been on the job market for a while and you're ready to stop freaking sending your resume everywhere and just cut to the chase, get the job already, this is also for you. All right. And despite the fact that I've heard that this is a tough career market, a tough job market right now, we haven't been seeing it. Our students, we had a boom, our most students ever in a 6-week period getting offers this spring. And we've continued to have students getting job offers this summer. Like, it hasn't stopped. So we know we're onto something because it's working. It's working. So we've helped tons of students get those positions. So this is page 7. All right, if you're following along playing the home game. So the way it works is the way we implement the Confident Coder system is we don't think you should have to drop everything in your life to become an amazing software developer. And so we've designed a system that can be completed virtually, online, largely at your own pace, with as little as an hour of scheduled time each week. Like, that has to be like on our time. Like, you would need 2 hours a day or 10 to 15 hours a week to complete the program, but you can pick what hours those are. Other than like 1 or 2 hours a week, you'll want to be able to be available when the program is happening to get together live, do the learning, all the things. So that starts from working at your own pace. So we have pre-recorded trainings in little snippets. This is not like 2 hours of me talking at you. I mean, I'm sure you guys can see it tonight, right? I gave you a workbook and we're working through it. So we're learning, we're doing stuff. Like, it's not just sitting there, well, letting the information, roll over you. Like, we're hands-on. We also have an amazing Discord community that's available 24/7 to answer questions. And we have a unique way of making sure that every question you ask gets answered. So usually within 4 hours, but we absolutely promise and commit to do it within 48. Pretty awesome. We even have voice channels where students go and hang out and help each other, which is just so, so awesome. So it's really an amazing support community. And that's not even the best part. Because the best part, guys, we made the perfect learning incubator so that you can get the support that you need anytime, right? So many times throughout the week, 6 days a week, because nobody seemed to come on Fridays. So we let the Friday slots go. But 6 days a week, multiple times a day, there is an expert there to guide you and answer your questions live on Zoom. And this is not like hundreds of students showing up. This is like a handful of students showing up and 1 to 3 of them asking questions in that hour. So you're getting plenty of time, not just with, mentors that specialize in the beginning phases of the program, but also more senior mentors, like a former Facebook engineer who used to work on Facebook mobile and hired all of their software developers for 5 years. Like, we have some crazy, amazing mentors on staff for you, and they're just there. You get to talk to them every week if you want to. There are folks that charge hundreds of dollars an hour. It's crazy. It's super awesome. Plus, you get a one-on-one career strategy session with me because we customize the learning experience of each and every student. So that, like, why does our system work? I'll tell you a little secret. It's because we work with each student. We start off with, hey, Artie, what's your dream coding job look like? What's your dream tech career look like? Great. Okay. What experience do you need to have on your resume for that job? Awesome. Let's go have you do that on the internship. So we're literally reverse engineering your resume for your dream job. Total game changer. It's a total game changer. It also means that none of our students are in direct competition with one another. So we don't have this issue that other boot camps have of everybody competing for the same jobs, because everybody is having slightly different learning experiences customized to what they need, to what they're looking for, to their dream career. So this is a total game changer for our approach. It's a really, really amazing thing that we do. And you don't have to just take my word for it. The students have been loving it. They, Stephanie just had an amazing experience, and she just felt the love and support that we offer because that's baked into what we do. Christine had been to college classes and preferred our approach to teaching. She just thought it was top notch. River has continued to love the experience of the Zoom sessions. It's the closest to the virtual on-campus experience he's ever seen. Jesse was reporting that students were raving about the feedback and the support, which is true. We've definitely heard that time and time again, especially from students coming from other boot camps, that our support is just top of the line, super awesome. And then Danielle, she joined the academy and after just a month after being in another boot camp, just totally loved it. Awesome sauce. Awesome, folks. So that's how we do it inside the Joy of Coding Academy. But I think the real key is, what can your tech career look like? So I want to shift gears for a minute. So if you don't have the notebook, let me see if I can pop this in the chat again. Okay, because you're going to want this workbook. All right. So this is your dream tech career roadmap. All right. Who's ready to map out their dream tech career? Because we're going to do it together right now. Like, we are making the blueprint for your next 6 to 12 months to get that tech career if that's what you want. Who's with me? Who's ready? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up. Pop in the chat. Last thing of the night. Awesome. Ronaldo's ready. I love it. Because this is the key. I want to make sure you guys have this. All right. Okay, sweet. So, what's your dream tech career? Okay. Now, I've talked a lot about different things. Awesome, Keacher. So good. I've talked about a lot of different careers tonight. Would it be helpful for you guys if I walked through some of the example careers that you could go after? Would anyone like to see like some of the example careers and like maybe some names and titles of positions? Yeah, awesome. Sweet. Remote working from anywhere. Awesome. That's totally doable. All right. So I talked tonight. I said, bold words, anyone can get a tech career, which is true. I stand by that. I've seen it time and time again. But I'm not saying that anyone can get any tech career, if this is right. Anyone can get a tech career. But it doesn't mean that anyone can get every tech career, right? Depends on your time, your skills, your experience, how much you want this, right? How far you want to go. So it's really up to you. So let me give you some examples, right? Let me give you some examples. And the cool thing is, Dan, like, our program is super unique. We actually let people come in and explore, and you don't have to pick what you're going to specialize in before you get here. So you can actually come in and start talking to the experts, go to their Zooms, ask them questions before deciding which way you want to go. Torn between DevOps and mobile, go talk to the mobile engineer, go talk to the DevOps engineer, ask them about what their day-to-day life is like, what kind of problems do they solve. So we allow you to actually explore right within the program. So there's really two different types of developers, right? We actually have two different programs targeting these different tracks. We have what's called the low-code developer. This is someone that knows a little bit of coding, but not to the degree that a software engineer or like a full stack developer would need. All right. So both of them have remote and hybrid options. So that doesn't matter. The low-code developer is typically a 60 to 80K starting salary versus a developer can start in the 70 to 150K range, right? So the earning potential of a developer is going to be higher, but it's going to take longer to master those skills potentially, right? So like there's some factors here. The earnings potential is up to 150K for that low code developer. Typically, I see them topping out about 80 to 120. a software developer has earnings potential anywhere from 500K to $1 million, right? Whoa, that's huge. So you can start at 100K and increase dramatically from there. It requires that level of learning though. You gotta want it. No one's gonna say like, oh, this is like super easy. We're gonna make it as easy as possible, and we are going to make it as fast as possible, but you have to actually like learn how to do the things. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Like it does take time and persistence and a dedication to your craft and being a professional, right? Like it requires all those things. Low code developer is a little bit of a lower bar. It's a little bit easier to get. You can do it faster. You don't need to learn as much, but they're perfectly good jobs that people are very happy with. And in fact, I was just talking with someone this week who is even an IT worker for 40K. And I'm like, dude, you should be at 60 to 80K. What are you doing at 40K? Like, we have to get you a higher paying job. So yes, you absolutely can. Now, here's the cool thing about the low code developers: quick payoff. Yep. Learning in as little as 2 weeks to 2 months, right? You can learn enough coding to start applying for jobs in just a few weeks. So that's pretty awesome. For the software engineer and the developer, you're not going to learn that in just a couple of weeks, I'll be honest. It typically takes 6 to 12 months. But the good news is it's not 4 years like most colleges and universities, right? It's way faster. Basically, I was the program director of computer science for my university, which meant I was in charge of the curriculum. Like everything that the students learned was under, like, that's what I was in charge of. And so I figured out how to graduate 6-figure software developers left and right. And so I had this 2.5-year pathway. It took 2.5 years in college to do this. And now we have students going through in 6 to 12 months, because once you take everything else away, you don't need it, right? And now I have true flexibility to offer it the way it needs to be offered. And so it happens pretty quickly. Low code developers, you can get an offer within 3 to 6 months after the training is completed, versus same with the software engineer and the developer. So the difference really is the length of time of the training. And there's a window there. We say 6 to 12 months because life happens. Everybody comes in with a different amount of time availability, different speed at which they learn, right? Like I can tell you the averages, but I can't tell what it's going to be for you specifically. I can just give you ranges. And so, there's a big range here because everybody learns differently and everybody has different life constraints that are like, that are factors. And so that's why there's such a broad range. But typically our students are getting offers literally like clockwork at the 8-month mark. Like the standard deviation, if you're into statistics, is like 2 weeks. It's like 8 months. So that's where the 6 to 12 months comes from. I have had students get offers in as little as 3 months. Those students came in with prior experience working another boot camp, another job, right? Something else like that. Super awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Aaron. So Aaron's asking, will AI and prompt engineering get to the point of takeover? I don't think so, because someone still has to write the prompt and recognize if the result is right? Because coding still needs that proofreading, and understanding the code, right, is a big part of it. And the cool thing is the way we teach our students is naturally AI proof because, we're focused on reading code, adapting templates, debugging, getting things working, integrating them. And so our whole curriculum and structure is set up to give you those AI proof skills. Because when I first set out and thought about what do people need to be an amazing software developer, I thought very intentionally about what those skills need to be. I was doing this thinking long before ChatGPT came out, but the essential fundamentals that everyone needs don't change just because AI is a new tool on the block, right? That's how you know it's foundational and fundamental. Like the 7 basics have been the 7 basics for 50 years. They don't change just because the technology's changed, because it's based on the principles. So that's why our learning approach is fairly timeless and future-proof, recession-proof, and AI-proof, because we're actually teaching our students how to be self-sufficient and how to have killer careers. So let's get into some job titles here. So here are some job titles that you might see for low-code developer. We've got data and biz analyst, low-code developer, solution specialist. That was it. Client solution specialist, business solution specialist. So this is someone that would serve as an intermediary between the developers and the clients, where, maybe you have a software as a service or some kind of setup that requires technical knowledge, but it's specialized technical knowledge. So you don't require like all the coding knowledge that a full stack software developer would need to know. And you're really customizing a solution for a client or an end user. For the software engineering and developer roles, job titles would include full stack web developer, data scientist, AI engineer, DevOps engineer, quality assurance engineer, and project manager. And this should be on page 8. This should be on page 8 for those of you playing the home game on the PDF. So let me paste that in there. Ronaldo's asking, where would the local coders be in town? Probably a meetup in your local metro area for sure. Awesome sauce, folks. So are there any questions on that? Because my next question to you guys is, what's your dream tech career look like? So I saw remote and hybrid for sure. So what's your dream tech career look like? Are any of these, sparking? Or at least can you say you'd like to be a low code developer versus a software developer, right? Low code or full stack kind of thing, or data science, AI, DevOps, right? There's so many options, so many options. What do you guys think? I just can't wait to hear. So I would love to hear it, folks. Yeah, Monica's low code. Ronaldo wants to be a local or low code? Or you mean like a in-person developer versus remote/hybrid? Awesome. Awesome sauce. So we got votes for either one. What's everybody else like? Awesome sauce. Because once if you can at least figure out which one of these categories you want, low code or developer, right? Like, or software engineer, like, then we can actually map out how long it'll take you to get there based on the experience that you already have. Awesome. Remote, low code developer, sweet. Front end startup, nice. Low code, Kelvin, that's awesome. Kate's looking for cybersecurity, sweet. Awesome, Artie. Artie was a senior software engineer. Congrats. Super awesome. Excellent. Yeah, so Justin is saying he'd start low code and see if he can do more from there. Absolutely. In fact, that was one of the reasons why we started the low code program, because we looked at the data and we realized like literally half of our students were choosing to get awesome jobs like early in the program before they even got to the experience on the internship, because you can't become a software engineer. Like, you can't get those jobs without experience. Those more advanced roles, even if you're in tech, like if you were in data science and wanted to suddenly switch to DevOps, you're still going to need that experience on your resume. But we noticed that there was plenty of students getting these low code developer jobs. We're like, hey, this would be a great way for students to work their way up to the internship program, because we do support our students fully. And so that program, like, we really can't discount it much further than we already have. And so it was still out of reach for many people. So what we did is we created a beginner program called Training Camp to help people do exactly what Justin is suggesting, where you might come in, learn the basics of coding, get one of those 60 to 80K tech jobs, be happy for a while, earn a good salary, and then choose to decide to come back and maybe continue on to be a software developer, but doing it while you're at an income level that you don't mind, right? That serves your quality of life better. Awesome sauce. So Dan is asking, maybe I'm off base, but project managers oftentimes need a certification. AI scientist. Yeah, so if you want to be, AI software developers, there's two different types. There's someone who's customizing the AI for specific tasks and applications that does not require a PhD. If you are creating new forms of AI and you're innovating the machine learning that's going into it, yes, you would need a master's or a PhD. So an AI engineer is you're specializing working with AI and you are customizing it for a particular application, but you're not creating new AI, if this makes sense, like new approaches, new ways of doing it with the statistics. Awesome. So we got a bunch of low code. That's awesome. Full stack for now. Yeah. And Paige, it can totally change, right? I know. Yes, John, imagine spending 120K in college. Yes, I spent 244. So I get it. And then not being able to find a job after. Uh-huh. Yeah, that was me. It only cost, my bachelor's was only 40K at the time. It was a few years ago, but I got out and I was like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I can't get a job. Oh my goodness. What do I do? I'll just go do more school. I'll just do more of the same and see if I get a different outcome. Nope, didn't. Super awesome. What is going to change? So, Reynaldo, I'm not sure I understand that. What is going to change question? Yeah, no, Aaron, no worries. Times are tough. And that's exactly why we created this beginner program, to make it easier to get started and get those higher paying jobs so that you can continue, right? Like, we were noticing that, like, it was more challenging for students to, find the means to get what they're trying to go. So we created a spinoff program, a beginner program that's way lower investment, so that you can get access to these low code jobs faster, because they don't take that long, right? They don't take that long and you don't need to learn that much. So awesome. Where did I go, Keacher? So I went to a school called the College of New Jersey. They might be brilliant now, but when I went, like, the year before I got there, 2 of their tenured faculty member had died, 2 of 4. So like half their department had tragically, like, and suddenly, unexpectedly passed away the year before I arrived. I don't know if it would have been different, but that was the experience that I got. And then when I went to the University of Delaware, that was do or die. They had very high standards and they didn't care if they taught you or not. And in fact, sometimes I'd bring in my homework problems to my teacher and they wouldn't know how to help me. It was a problem that they had given me, that they had authored. And I was like, I don't know why my code isn't working. And they're like, I don't know either. Here's a B. Like, oh my goodness. As a professor, like, on the other side of that, I would give assignments and I wouldn't know the answers of why someone's code wasn't working. But you know what? I figured it out. Sometimes I had to copy and paste chunks of my solution into theirs to see what wasn't working, because I couldn't tell. And I found out that with one of my operating systems assignments, it was this weirdo version of the C compiler. I'll just share this tidbit because this is just the fun and joy of technology. If you put a comment as the first line of the file, it wouldn't work. Like, I've never heard of this ever anywhere else in any programming language, but the only way I figured it out was by taking the known solution and copying and pasting different chunks in until I could isolate and identify exactly what line was causing the issue. And it was the first line, which was a comment. Fun times. Yes, being a teacher, Aaron, is the best way to learn. And in fact, we bake that into our program to help our students gain confidence and nail their interviews by helping give back and service peer mentors and teaching other students. We also offer a discount for it, a scholarship. So pretty awesome. It's a win-win. Yep. So yeah, exactly, John. Super awesome. Okay, cool. So let's map out, like, I want to make sure that we're moving forward here. I'm not taking, I know I will wax nostalgic all day long, but let's focus for you guys. We just have a couple more minutes. I want to make sure we've mapped out your coding career, your tech career, whatever that looks like. So I saw a lot of great careers. So a lot of low code, some software developers. So whatever it is, write it down on the worksheet, jot it down on a piece of paper if you're keeping track, and then write down your target salary. Okay, let's make this real, right? Let's really think through this, because the sky is the limit here, right? I'm telling you what I've seen, right? What is typical. So if it's a low code job, your target salary, I would recommend in the 60 to 80K range, right? And what does that look like per month? Like, pick a number, divide it by 12. What does that look like? Like, is that different from what you're making now, perhaps? So I'd love to see some target salaries. What do you got? What do you guys have for me? What are you guys thinking? I want to see these. What are our target salaries? Yes, Dan, I know academia is often concerned with publishing and not doing in the real world. That's why I had to leave it. Because I actually wanted to help people right now. Yep. So what's your target salary for your dream tech job, right? So pick your dream tech career. If it was low code for now, right? Let's pop in some target salaries. Okay, Justin's 50K for sure. That should be very attainable with these skills. They are highly sought after. So thanks, Justin, for sharing. Any others? Let's get some target salaries. Like this, we're just thinking through what a possible future. Awesome, Paige. Paige is going after 125. Well, and Paige already has experience, so it's very like Doris. She got the 150K. She had 20 years experience in tech, so she was able to use that experience to help command a higher offer. Very good. Awesome. O'Neill 100K. Monica 60. Kate 10. Kate 10. Kate, I think you missed a zero. I'm just going to assume. I was going to assume that Kate missed a zero. That should have been 100K. Pow 90K. Awesome. David 80K. Super awesome. Super awesome. Perfect. Awesome, Aaron. Already 100K. Teacher 70. Nice. Super awesome. Awesome sauce. So John, we teach foundational skills. So John is asking what kind of low code jobs will be in demand. The cool thing is you don't have to learn that much for these jobs. And so you can learn the foundational principles and then just wait and see what's out there that looks good. What I usually recommend though, is that if you're not sure yet, look for like a handful to a dozen jobs that you're like, man, that would be awesome. I would love to do that. And then you look and you reverse engineer the skills that you need to have. Like, where's the overlap? And then you prepare yourself for that. Super awesome. Awesome. Dan's looking for 110K plus. Super awesome. Okay. So now we want to take a minute. Again, there is zero judgment here, right? The purpose of this exercise is to get clear about what you want and where you are. Just an honest assessment, a reflection of where you are without judgment. Because if we judge ourselves, we've lost, right? We've lost the battle before it's begun. There's zero judgment here. It is just an assessment of where we're going and where we've been. Like, so where are we now? Have we made progress, right? Awesome, John. I love it. So what's our progress so far? What is our progress so far? Like, do we have any progress? Now, you all have progress because you showed up here tonight. So let's celebrate that win. You set aside a couple hours to workshop an AI-proof tech career. So that's really wicked awesome. So we just want to be honest about it, right? Honest about where our progress has been so far, right? This way, we're taking an accurate assessment so we can choose a different future if we want, okay? And that's up to you. Cool thing is you get to be the architect of your future. Isn't that awesome? Awesome. No worries, John. The base skills for low-tech jobs, low-code jobs are not, they're not hard to acquire. So they're fairly straightforward. So jot down your progress so far. Awesome, Kate. Kate's been working on some projects. That's pretty sweet. Yep. Jot down where you are. And then here's the next step I really want to hear about. So please pop it in the chat if you can. What do you think is stopping you from moving forward? I'm just curious, because this is what we can unpack to help you to blast through and help you move forward. So where are you, right? Where are you trying to go? What's your progress so far? And then what would you say is the biggest barrier to your success? What is preventing you from moving forward? Awesome. So John's going to be living in a different location. So Kate, no paid experience. Now, Kate, I would push back and say, I don't know that it's paid experience because our internship program is not paid, but it's production. That would be the one question I would have for you is it production level experience versus paid? Because really, at the end of the day, when you get hired at those higher six-figure salaries, you already have all the skills before you get the job. You just don't have the title yet, basically. Great questions. Monica, income. Okay, awesome. Justin, learning, coding, and networking. So the learning piece, Justin, awesome. John, leaving for good. David, finances for sure, because investing in your learning, it takes time, and it takes time and money, usually financial. Artie, disconnected. Oh, so good, Artie. Reentry. We've had other ladies, other mamas that have chosen to go back. Super awesome. Yeah, so we can get you up to speed, Artie, if you want. I've had a number of students come in with prior experience, update it, and get those offers, because we know the foundations haven't changed that much. The students that come in with older experience, that's more like, that's just, slightly from the past, typically pick up the new technology super fast. But most jobs and companies want to see the latest experience on your resume. So our internship helps with that. Super awesome. Living like a king. Awesome, John. Dan's been consolidating skills and learning over many years. Nice, nice. Slow going. There you go. Slow going. Fear, Keacher. That's great honesty. Super awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And Paige, no, don't worry about being a beginner, because we got you covered. Oh my goodness. When I was a college professor, I taught a class that was one of those gen ed classes that everyone had to take. It was like, you could take math or you could take my intro to programming class. So I would have all these people in it that were like history majors, art majors. They're like, this is the last thing I want to spend my time doing. And what I like to do is structure the course so they loved it so much that they became majors and minors in computer science. And in fact, my first year teaching, there was under 20 majors and minors, and within 2 years, I built it up to 100. I mean, the school only had 1,200 students, right? Like it was, yeah, anyways. So the way I structure things, don't worry about being a beginner, right? That's my bread and butter. Super awesome, super awesome. Super awesome, John. I love it. 3-year plan. Aaron, no worries. No worries. Yeah, no worries. It's all good. You don't have to be afraid of the tech world. It's a learnable skill. That's the cool thing, is it's a skill that can be learned. And you never know until you try it, how easily it will come for you, right? And how easily it can come to you, which is why, like, we actually have 2 separate, programs. We have a program that's dedicated just to beginners. So you can get the skills to get those tech jobs quickly. So that if you come in, you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to learn more, but I just need to know enough. And as little as 2 weeks, you can know enough to qualify for some of these positions, right? So it can really happen that fast. So even if it took you a couple months instead of a couple weeks, right? Because maybe, you're fairly new. It's all good. Super awesome. Awesome sauce, folks. These are great. Thank you all for sharing. This is so great. Thank you for sharing your stories and where you are, and being honest and getting clear on, what might be impeding your progress, what might be getting in the way. It's super awesome. So one question I have for you guys, because now I want to map this out for you, for everybody, because everybody's at different levels of experience, right? How many hours a week can you consistently invest in your learning, right? How many hours per week? And then that coupled with how much experience you already have coding. So Aaron is in the true beginner stage, but we might have someone, like already has more experience. Like, let's map out how long this might actually take. So the first thing I need to know is, how many hours per week do you think you can consistently invest in your learning? So and what we're looking for is to see 2 hours a day, or about 10 to 15 hours a week. So do you guys all think you can do at least 10 hours a week? That's what we're looking for. 20 hours is brilliant. 80 hours, Keisha, that's brilliant. That's amazing. So we've actually broken down the projections for how fast you can get a job based on these hours. So that's pretty awesome. Awesome. Monica, 15, Kate, 10. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's do this. Let's dive in and see. Okay, folks. So the first question I want you to answer before you look at this table, I need to fix my animation slightly. Forgive me. But the first question is a tech career right for you? And I'm assuming, if you're still here in this room, that the answer to that is yes, right? If you're here learning about this, a tech career is right for you. The second question is the Confident Coder system that we spoke about tonight a good fit for you, right? And so you'd want to figure that out, yes or no. Only you can answer that. I am biased. I created it for a reason, to answer a need I saw in the world. And I firmly believe it is the 21st century tech education solution, because I could see that boot camps and colleges and universities weren't getting it done. But you have to decide for you if this is a good fit for how you like to learn. And then once you've answered those things, the question becomes how fast. because these numbers in this table don't apply following other training methods. Like I can't guarantee your results if you're following the more traditional curricular style. But I know inside the Joy of Coding, because I've got, data from dozens of students to back it up, I know about how fast these things take. So first question is low code or software developer. There's a lot of low coders, so we'll do that first. So if you are interested in getting one of those low code jobs, typically that's 3 to 6 months. It's a 6-month program. We always like to allow way more time than we think you need because life happens. And so I would expect to get a job offer in 3 to 6 months if you're looking for a low code job. If you're looking for a dev job, like already having prior experience, yeah, she's going to be looking for a dev job. Anyone looking for those 100K and over jobs, yeah, you're going to want to do the Joy of Coding Academy. And so how long does it take? If you are a true beginner, it could take as long as 12 months. I would allow 12 months, like plan on it. It might happen as early as 8 months, but just plan on it being in 12. If you're doing it full time, it may happen sooner. It can happen sooner. If you've coded a little bit, then it might be faster. The issue is I can't tell how much a little bit is until you get in the program. So I'm giving you some ranges, and you might have to read between the lines a little bit if it'll take you 8 to 12 months or if it'll take you less than 8 months. It depends on how much you've coded. I once had a student come in, she was a teacher, and she didn't tell me that she had had a coding job before. And she came in, she's like, I don't know how to code. I'm a beginner. And then she finished the first 2 months in a weekend. Got to the internship. She was like our fastest student to the internship. I'm like, you said you didn't know how to code. Are you kidding me? So again, sometimes we don't know what we know or what we don't know. So again, these are ranges. You will have to interpret them for yourself. Excellent. If you've already completed a degree or a boot camp, I can say with much more confidence, this is 6 to 8 months if it's part-time. If you've got 20 hours a week or more, I know Keithan and Artie had mentioned that it could take as little as 3 to 6 months for sure. And especially if you've had a tech job before, it's much closer to 3 months, the 3-month mark, for getting you there. Super awesome. Super awesome. No worries. It's all good, John. We'll save it. We'll pin that one for later. It's all good. So what I want you to do now is, map out and write down on your sheet, on your worksheet, right? Like this is page 8. Write down about how long you think it'll take, right? So you can use this chart. And then if you want it, you can break it up into 3 phases and jot down those notes. There's some spaces for you guys to do that. But map out how many. Does QA count as before? Yeah, absolutely. Quality assurance? Yes, because that's something in tech, right? I would put you in the coded a little bit at least camp. But you did have a tech job before. So Aaron, didn't you say you were a beginner? But no, or it feels like a beginner, right? You feel like a beginner, just because it's new perhaps. Okay. See, this is how I can't always tell based on what people say. The fastest path to know how long it'll take is to actually start. And we actually map it out. We give every student a guide where you can actually plug in how many hours you want to work and when you should be hitting the elements of the program so you can kind of adjust and adapt. Because I once had a student come in and say, oh man, Dr. Emily, I have, 4 hours a day to work. And these 2-hour blocks of time are taking me 4 hours. So everything was taking him double. He was doing everything perfectly though. So it's well, you can adjust your timeline. You can either give more hours or just adjust, when you'll finish. So the fastest path to that is to come in for a week and see it and try it and see how quickly, and then you'll know. That's why there's ranges, because I don't know how quickly you specifically will learn. I don't know how well you'll be able to, how much time you have, right? Only you know that. So the best I can do is some ranges, but then you can actually mark your clock with this a little bit more closely once you come in and you see how you're advancing, how you're progressing. Super awesome. Yeah, no, that's good. Yep. Yeah, Dan, that looks good. Awesome, teacher. Well, I would recommend you come to our school. I'll tell you about it if you'd like. Awesome sauce. Any other questions about timelines? Because we're wrapping up here. And I just, I want to invite you, if anyone would like to join us, I just want to, share with you what the next step can look like if you'd like. So any other questions on this, please don't hesitate to ask. If you have a specific situation, I'm happy to give you an estimate that's like customized for you. That's what we do. But I do want to let you guys know. So if a tech career is right for you, and if you believe the Confident Coder system I just walked you through is a good fit for you and your learning style, the next question is, how committed are you? Right? And and it's so great. We had so many commenters tonight that had different opinions on, yes, I want to be 100K and up software developer, or I'm not sure. I think, right? And that's totally cool. It's all good, right? So if you're a little bit committed, what I recommend is that you join our training camp. And to be honest, we partnered with some financing partners where the monthly payment could be under $70 a month, depending on your credit. So it can be super accessible, and you can get job offers in as little as 2 to 3 months. So it's almost like you're paying so little for the value of having access to those skills and a 60 to 80K job that could bring you to 100K in time, like pretty awesome. So everything that we talked about tonight goes into the training camp. This is our beginner program. It has job hunt training and support for the low code jobs specifically. It's the first 2 months of our training program. So if this is something you're like, oh man, I would love to be a full developer, but I need that 60 to 80K job first as a stepping stone, and then I can spend the time to invest in getting that 6-figure job. This is the program for you. We offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is no risk to you. And to be honest, I would say over half of the students that have joined so far have since upgraded to the main program because they just love it so much they want to be a part of it, because you actually get access to all the replays of our main Joy of Coding Academy program. So you get to start thinking about what's for you. You can start virtually watching the replays for the sessions with our senior developers, to see what's actually going on. And we also offer 6 months of technical and job hunt support to support and guide you, as well as accountability and mindset coaching. So it's a great program. If you've tried to learn before and been frustrated, it is the perfect vehicle to help you get the next step to hit that low code job. Super awesome. Awesome. So Katie is asking, so Katie, let me give you the workbook, which you will be able to get up to speed a little bit more on what we went over. Super awesome. Now, if you're committed and you're like, I want a 100K job, right? The training camp might lead you to a 100K job in time. It'll probably take you a few years. And I can't guarantee that it'll go to a 100K job. But if you're truly ready for your new tech career and you are committed, you're like, I am doing this no matter what, then I invite you to consider the Joy of Coding Academy and to join us, because we have a guaranteed internship. So everybody gets hands-on experience working in production. That's why I think, was it Kate that was talking about paid experience? In my experience, it's the production experience that makes the difference versus the paid, because that's what I see with my students every day. And we also have a job offer guarantee where we work with you until you get an offer. So it's not a matter of if you get a tech job, it's a matter of when. And the reason we can guarantee it is because of this guaranteed internship. We actually monitor every student and we know exactly how you work, and we can provide connections and be a referral for you when you go on the job market. And so it's a total game changer. You don't just have a resume, but you have someone who can vouch for the elements that are on it. It's really sweet. So, and this is something I can't offer as part of the training camp because the internship is not part of the training camp program. It's only part of the Joy of Coding Academy. So this is our flagship job prep. It's small group, work at your own pace. You get to choose your own training and internship. We customize learning experience to you and your dream coding career. We offer up to 18 months of support. And this is where you get direct access to our top senior software engineer developer mentors. It's fire sauce. It's really crazy. And we offer a $3,000 peer mentor scholarship to help bring that cost down. And This is big, guys. I've never announced this before. We just partnered with Climb Credit. They are an amazing financial partner for many coding boot camps. And they now partnered with us for financing. And so potentially, depending on your credit, you could pay as little as $70 a month for this one too, while you're learning before you get a job. So pretty incredible. I'll share the link with you guys so you can apply if you want and just see what the payments might look like. For those of you that are like all in and you're like, I am doing this. I just want the fastest path. I want to do this now as quickly as I can. We have a little bit of an upgrade for you. This is for the person who needs that one-on-one social accountability, right? The Joy of Coding Academy is a small group program that gives you everything you need. But if you benefit, like this is how I am. I need someone asking me every week, hey, how'd you do? Did you make any progress? Right? Like I need that accountability from a human. Because if it's just up to me, I'll let it slip and life will get in the way. So the inner circle is for the person that really wants that one-on-one accountability and support. They also get daily, one-on-one DMs with me. So we're like literally workshopping everything about your career and your learning every single day. And private office hour sessions that aren't available. Like it's just small group just for our inner circle members, as well as the one-on-one job hunt support. So it's really incredible. It's so amazing. To be honest, the one-on-one accountability is a total game changer. I've seen students join us as the main academy and then upgrade later to the inner circle when they're like, no, I really want to do this. I want to move forward. I want to make progress. And they upgrade and they really start flying through. It's pretty incredible. It's pretty awesome. Awesome. No worries. Yes, absolutely, teacher. We can absolutely send this to your email. Absolutely. I'll send it to everybody. But if you're interested, go ahead and check out this link. Let me paste it for you guys. Let's see. All right. I'll post this link here. So if you guys are interested in any of our programs, and again, our beginner program is super low investment to help you get started fast and qualify for those low code jobs making 60 to 80K. If you're ready and committed to one of those six-figure jobs or having the skills that can command six figures, then I highly recommend the Academy program. To be honest, most people know where they fall pretty quickly. And so, yeah, don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. But this will give you access to everything. So what I would say is click on the link, explore the options, and just know that potentially, depending on your credit, you could pay as little as $70 a month for either the training camp or the academy. So these are the numbers of the financing that we offer in-house, but we also partnered with financial partners. So for the training camp, you want to look for Afterpay and Klarna. They will give you lower options. And then in the Joy of Coding Academy itself, for the main program, you want to click on the Climb link and just see what you can apply in about 5 minutes, but you can also just look at their payment calculator and kind of get a sense of what it might be. Awesome sauce. If you have any questions, folks, please don't hesitate. Please don't hesitate. I'm going to pop this link in here so you guys have it. Oh, that link is not in the PDF. I think I created it. Okay. Excellent. All right. I'll make sure to email that to everybody. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. So Dan, I made that statement after looking for several years at boot camps and advanced degree programs. No worries. I'm not sure, Dan, that I'm quite following, but it's all good. It's all good. So guys, can I give you one more gift tonight? You guys have been troopers. You've been amazing. Like you've been incredible. This was awesome. Can I give you one more gift, especially for those of you that are looking to get on the job market? I have one more gift to offer you guys today. And I'd like to offer you a six-figure coding career blueprint. Let me give you the link here so you can get access to this. Okay, excellent. Oh, see the previous post. All right, Dan, I'll have to take a look at it. I didn't see it. Oh, thank you, Dan. There's nothing better than Joy of Coding we had as a training program. Thanks. Thanks, Dan. I love it. Super awesome. Awesome sauce. Okay, nothing. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. So good. Appreciate it. So I want to give you guys one more gift tonight because you've shown up and you've demonstrated that you are absolutely committed to your future, to your tech career. And so I want to help you any way that I can. So, and we are always looking to learn and improve. It's a hallmark of the Joy of Coding Academy and the Tech Joy Career Academy is that we are always improving, right? Technology is always changing and we are always improving and always looking to do better. And so I have a brief survey for you folks. If you answer these questions, you'll get access to our 6-figure coding career blueprint. This is the exact strategy we share with each of our students that has them so successfully getting interviews and offers. And I want to share it with you. So no matter what pathway you choose, right, you're set on that path to success. And so at the end, if you fill out just a couple questions on the survey, it helps us get feedback on how you enjoyed your experience tonight. And then there's a link at the very end. So once you complete the survey, don't close it. Copy and paste. There's a link at the end. They'll give you access to this PDF. All right, folks, super, super awesome. So what I'll do is I will definitely email you folks after the event. And again, if there's any other questions, happy to answer them. Totally happy to answer them. And let's say a question comes up later. How do you reach me? So you can text us, right? If our staff doesn't know the answer, they'll reach out to me. I also respond directly to the text as well. So you're covered. So you can just reply to any of the texts that you received from us, reminding you about tonight's events. And you can also email us, right? We check those too. Another way though, is that every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, I go live in our Facebook group, and we just started this summer, we just started broadcasting that to YouTube and LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn doesn't allow you to comment, so you can't really ask questions. But if you're on Facebook or on YouTube, you can ask questions for some of our free trainings that we do every Tuesday. So super awesome. Awesome, Justin. Super awesome. Love it. Again, happy to help. So if anyone has questions, if you're looking to get started, but you're not sure when, like what the timeline could look like for you, happy to hop on a call and help you see if you can work that out. I mean, that's part of the reason why we partnered with these financial partners, is to help you, be able to make this happen for you now and sooner rather than waiting, right? Because you keep waiting for tomorrow may never come. There's never that perfect opportunity. And so we want to help you be able to make it accessible as we can. So again, if you're looking for, support and guidance on trying to make that happen, definitely let me know. Happy to help. All right, folks, super awesome. Awesome, Artie. So let me give you Artie, what I can do, actually, I'm going to stop my sharing right now, is, Artie, I can give you that link. Let's see. Okay, cool. Excellent. Sweet. Okay, there you go, Artie. And anyone else, if you're interested, you can absolutely book a call and we can talk more about what makes sense for you guys. So I opened up some extra slots this weekend just for you guys. Oh, and I almost forgot. So if you're thinking about joining us, now is the perfect time, because Saturday I'm doing an all-day live training. I do this about every month, every 4 to 6 weeks, and Saturday is the next one. So if you're thinking about it and you're close, book a call for Friday, tomorrow, so that if you did decide you wanted to do it, you could join us on Saturday, because the next one won't be for a month. And it's such a great way to fast track your progress, because we basically cover the first month of training in a day, with gaps, with breaks. And it just really helps propel the students forward and make faster progress, because you can ask questions. You still need to go through the activities, but you have this opportunity to ask live questions. And our students just love it. I get rave responses every time we do it. So super awesome. So definitely, I opened up. I don't normally book calls on Fridays, but given our pop-up event tonight, I opened up some calls for tomorrow. So yeah, would love to see you guys. Would love to support you, and just help you move forward in whatever way makes sense, because it's really about creating awesome technology that can change the world. Right? That's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. So super, super excited to help just consult and share whatever knowledge I can. Super awesome. Awesome, folks. Great to see you all. Wonderful job tonight. Kudos for showing up for you and your tech career and your future. So thank you. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey to move forward. And if I can serve you even more, just let me know. You know how to find me, right? Facebook group, texting, these links I've shared with you tonight. And I look forward to supporting you on your journey, whatever way makes sense. Awesome sauce. I see Adele has a hand. So Adele, if you have a question, I want to make sure to answer it. Super awesome. Awesome, Monica. So good. Great to see you, Kate. Awesome, John. Love it. Super awesome. Awesome, Paige. Thanks for that feedback. I love that. Love it. Super awesome. Yeah, we did it a little differently this time. Super awesome. I'm glad you liked it. Excellent. Awesome sauce. So Adele, we might need to keep going. I'm not seeing a question, so I'm just assuming that the hand raise might be something else. It was lovely to meet you, Keacher. So good. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. So don't be strangers. Come on and see us inside the Facebook group. Let's keep the party going. All right. Have a great rest of your night, folks. Take care.